All right, Unit 2.8, Part 2, Algebraic proofs, right? We're going to use the new properties of equality we just learned to prove, right? Okay. The statements or steps are listed on the left side because this is a two-column proof, right? So the statements are on the left. All right? So the statements or steps that they give us, the given information, they work the problem for us on the left-hand side, right? On the right-hand side, right, we're going to have the reasons. We're going to explain the steps they took. We're going to give the reasons justifying each statement. We're going to walk through their problem step by step, explaining how they did it, right? And what are the reasons they can use? They can use the properties we just learned, the properties of equality, right? You can also use definitions we've learned. You can use postulates. Remember the angle addition postulate, the line segment postulate, right? You can use the postulates we've learned. You can also use the theorems we've learned. Theorems, postulates, theorems, they're just the rules, proven rules. Rules that work again and again and again, right? This is just a very math, sometimes science term for rules that have been proven again and again and again, postulates and theorems, right? So, for example, use the properties of equality to complete each proof, right? It's going to work the problem for us. We're going to explain how, right? So, in the first step, we were given 4x minus 1 equals 27. So what did we do to get from here to here? We added 1 to both sides. That's addition property. And then what did we do to get from here to here? We divided both sides by 4. That's division property. Right? We're literally, we're just explaining the steps, how we got from here to here. We're proving it. You know when I say show your work? This is showing your work. We're just explaining their work. All right? Given a divided by negative 6 plus 2 equals 5, prove that a is actually equal to negative 18. So, step 1, we were given the equation. How did they get from here to here? They subtracted both sides by 2. So, the first thing they did was subtraction property. From here to here, it looks like they multiplied both sides by negative 6. Right? Make sense? That is multiplication property. Given negative 9 times the group, 2x minus 3 is equal to 63. Prove that x is equal to negative 2. Step 1, we're given the equation. To get from here to here, it looks like we distributed 9 times what's inside the parentheses. Negative 9 times 2x is negative 18x. Negative 9 times negative 3 is positive 27. So the first thing we used was distributive property. Because we couldn't do anything with the parentheses in the way, so we had to get rid of them. All right, then from here to here, You can look at the differences to figure out what they did. It looks like they subtracted 27 from both sides. 63 minus 27 gives you 36. You can always double check it and make sure that's what they did. So they used subtraction property. And then from here to here, they divided by negative 18. So that's division property. If you look carefully at the steps they take, this can teach you how to solve multi-step equations. Because if you're given this equation, if you follow these steps, you will get this answer. It's teaching you how to do it. You have to do these steps in that order. Distribute to get rid of the parentheses, subtract to get rid of the constant, divide to get rid of the coefficient. It's teaching you the steps. So given 6x plus 7 equals 8x minus 17, they're going to complicate the issue by putting a variable on both sides. Prove that x is actually equal to 12. Alright, so from here to here, it looks like they moved the variable. How did they move the variable? Because there was a variable here, and now it's just here. So they subtracted 6x from both sides. That's subtraction property. And then from here to here, well, it looks like we added 17 to both sides to cancel the 17. We had to cancel the negative 17. So we added 17 to both sides. That's addition property. And from here to here, we divided both sides by 2. That's division property. And then from here to here, just flipped it. They're equal but not identical. So that's symmetrical property or symmetric property. I'm going to put symmetric because I think it makes more sense. All right, and we learned something from following these steps. This is why I said if you're careful and you make sense of the steps that they're taking, that you can learn something. We learned that if there's a variable on both sides, then your first step has to be moving the variable. You can either move the 8x to the left by subtracting 8x from both sides, or you could move the 6x to the right by subtracting 6x from both sides. So, because there's a variable on both sides of the equal sign, we learned that's the first thing you have to do. You have to move it. Oh, look at that. Okay, let's complicate the issue. Let's see what we got. Given negative 7 times the group x plus 2 plus 4x is equal to 6 times the group 2x minus 4, prove that x is equal to 2/3. Woo! Okay. From here to here, you'll notice the parentheses are gone. So ask yourself, did they distribute? Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. Negative 6 times 2x is 12x. Positive 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. Yes, the first thing they did was distribute. Distribution property. Distributive property. Ask yourself, what did they do? And then tell me what property or definition or postulate or theorem they used to do it. All right, from here to here, what changed? This stayed the same, but this changed. This and this became this. Negative 7x plus 4x became negative 3x. You can call that combining like terms or simplifying. right? Combine like terms. I like combine like terms because it tells me exactly what I'm doing. But you could also call it simplify. Simplify. Basically, they simplify by combining like terms. All right, next step. It looks like we got rid of the 12x. So we subtracted 12x from both sides. That makes sense, right? Negative 3x minus 12x is going to give you negative 15x. So we subtracted, subtraction property. And then something changed here. The negative 14 went away, so we added 14 to both sides. Addition property. And then lastly, we isolated the x, which means we divided both sides by the coefficient. We divided both sides by negative 15. So that's division property. We finished with division property. They only get more complicated. So if you don't understand what's happening here, go back to the beginning and watch it again. So the first thing is you were given 3x plus 1 equals negative 14. And you're proving that x equals negative 5. So the first thing they did was give it to you. It's given. All right? The second thing they did, well, we have to do it. And then we have to explain it, right? I got you. All right, so to get from here to here, we first need to get rid of the constant. So we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So the first thing we do is subtraction property. Which gives us 3x equals negative 15. Right? Because these cancel. Negative 14 minus 1 is negative 15. And then the next thing we have to do is get rid of the coefficient. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. That's division property. And that's going to give us x equals negative 5. We didn't need all those lines. We had extra space. Right? So it was only a short process. Why would they give us so many spaces? I don't know. Let's do the next one and find out why they did that. All right, given 2x minus 9, 2 times the group, x minus 9 equals negative 10. We're proving that x equals 4. So, in step 1, we were given the equation. First thing we need to do is distribute. 2 times x, 2 times negative 9. So the first thing we did was distributive property. This one's not going to have enough lines. I think they had it backwards. We'll work with it. Alright, then we're going to add 18 to both sides to get rid of the negative 18, get rid of the constant. So we're going to use addition property. And that's going to give us 2x equals 8. Oh, there's just enough space. right? And then the final step is to divide to cancel the coefficient. So that's division property. So not only do we have to be able to solve our algebraic equations, but we have to explain our steps. Which means you truly need to understand what you're doing over here, because you have to be able to explain your steps. On your mastery check, there's going to be one like this, where you explain the steps, and there's going to be one like this, where you have to do the steps and explain the steps. Make sure you are prepared. Again, if you don't understand what's going on, go back and watch it again. The whole point of having a video is you can watch it again.